force. Force is a push or pull. This is a force because Elmer pushed Ryan.
Unbalanced forces. An unbalanced force will cause an object velocity to change.
This is an example of an unbalanced force. Balanced forces are equal forces acting on one object in opposite directions. This is an example of balanced force.
A Newton is the SI unit of magnitude.
Net force. Net force are all of the forces acting on an object.
Static friction is the friction acting on objects that are not moving. This is an example of static friction. Sliding friction is when two objects slide against each other.
This is an example of static friction.
Rolling friction. Rolling friction is when an object rolls across a surface.
This is an example of rolling friction. This is an example of fluid friction.
This is an example of gravity. The force of gravity is holding Ryan down.
Mass is the amount of matter in an object.
Weight is the gravitational force exerted on a person or object at the surface of a planet. Free fall is when gravity is acting on an object.
This is an example of free fall.
Air resistance is a type of fluid friction that acts on objects falling to air.
This is an example of air resistance.
A projectile. A projectile is an object that is thrown.
This is an example of projectile. Compression, an elastic force that squeezes or pushes matter together.
This is an example of compression.
This is an example of tension.
Cannot wait. I'm yours. Open up your mind and see like me. Open up your plans and damn you're free.
Inertia is an object's resistance to change motion. Momentum. Momentum is a characteristic of a moving object that depends on both the mass and the velocity of the object.
Momentum equals mass times velocity.
The law of conservation of momentum states that in the absence of outside forces, the total momentum of objects that interact does not change. When Ryan does push-ups, a force is exerted back on him from the ground. Satellite. A satellite is any object that orbits another object in space. This is an example of a satellite. Patrick is orbiting Ryan.
It's too close. Fight harder. Time's almost up.
This is a force because Elmer pushed Ryan.
Wait, it's supposed to be shoulder bump or push?
Doesn't matter.
This is an example of static friction. This is an example of static friction.
Momentum equals
Compression is an elastic.
I don't know the word. Newton. Newton is the SI unit of mass.
fluid friction. Fluid friction occurs when an object goes through an fluid. Still gay.
You good?